What is up, people? We are back. Another Dolphins trade in the books. Another one that was pretty surprising and unexpected. I was going to stream later today talking about like what tight ends and I think are options for Miami, and they end up trading with the Giants for Darren Waller, who is coming out of retirement to play in Miami. Just honestly, I saw the move and I started laughing. I just thought it was funny. I guess I don't have any like crazy thoughts at the moment. I'll have to watch some Darren Waller film, and he is definitely going to be a bit rusty. But so here's what's going on. They traded with him. This is a Frank Smith situation. Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith coached him in Vegas. He was actually the tight end coach with him, so he loves Darren Waller. He's probably the reason he got talked out. Because I remember hearing a little while ago that Waller was thinking about coming out of retirement. I remember hearing that like a month ago or something like that. But I did not expect this move, which I thought was funny. He's definitely the Jonnu replacement. He is a Jonnu type of tight end. He's basically a big slot receiver. The compensation right here is Dolphins are trading a conditional 2026 6th round pick to the Giants, and they're getting back a 2027 7th round pick. So they're doing a late round pick swap. They're a year apart, and then it is a conditional 2026 6. So we'll see what the conditions are on that eventually. And you get Darren Waller. And then also it's an incentives-based deal, so it's a 1-year deal. He's 32, so it's definitely a 1-year deal, and it's worth up to $5 million. So we'll have to see what the contract actually ends up being, but it's up to $5 million. I'm guessing there's a lot of different moves. This is just so unexpected. I honestly thought I'm like, the Dolphins always end up surprising me somehow. Obviously, when he was playing like in his prime, he was a very good tight end, like a top 5 guy, very good receiver. I still think he's going to be like a specialist for you, similar to what Jonnu was last year. Like he's going to play a specific role. Jonnu would give you more yak, while I think Waller can do yak stuff too, but he would be more of a maybe downfield receiving threat, can be like a seam threat. I mean, I don't know. I think this is kind of just like one of those moves that's low risk because you didn't give up anything crazy for him, obviously. But I don't know if I have the highest expectations. But I guess it could be higher reward, but it is pretty funny. Yeah, Frank Smith loves him. Yeah, there is a video of him saying like they had him be like a lead blocker. I saw the clip. He was like a lead blocker like in his final year with the Giants. And then he's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. And then retired after the season. But I don't think he'll be doing that in Miami. That's just not his skill set. They didn't use Jonnu really in that role. Like Jonnu very rarely blocked. So guess they're just trying to make like a low risk, potential high reward move. I mean, I don't know though it will end up being a high reward, but I could see a decent role carved out for him. It's just, man, so unexpected. But yeah. I'm sure he's probably happy because it's actually a good spot for him. And it is with Frank Smith. But that was a long time ago. Wow. Guess it was more so to save money. Don't like the Saul. I'd rather have traded for Brevin Spanford. I mean, Brevin Spanford isn't very good. But he would have been... I don't think Darren Waller is going to be great for you either, but I don't know. I don't think Brevin Spanford is where I would have gone. I don't even know if Brevin Spanford would make the team. I would have rather trade for probably Schoonmaker if we were going to go from the Cowboys. Waller's always injured. I mean, that's probably the least of my concerns. We just got to see. We got to see if he still has it as the skill. Man, that was. Oh, I saw it on Twitter. I just started laughing. But I mean, it's a low cost move, so it's like I'm not gonna be that mad about it. They didn't really give up much for it. But I also don't really have high expectations because we haven't seen him play in a while. I'll have to watch the film and see what he looked like in his final season to really have a feel for it. But man, I do wish, like, if they were going to bring in a tight end, I really did want to bring in more of a guy that can play inline stuff, because Darren Waller is not much of an inline guy in his time playing. We need to do a major tight end upgrade next year. Yeah, I mean, they were never going to get a major tight end upgrade this year, at this point at least. But yeah, I would have definitely loved to, go for. I've been, wanting that. I've been asking for that for a while. Definitely a very unexpected move. But he's definitely more of a Jonnu type player. So if you were looking for a exact Jonnu replacement, because a lot of the people that were offering replacements for Jonnu were like, Michael Mayer, Cole Kmet. Those really aren't Jonnu replacements. Those are guys who are going to take over what like Julian Hill and Pharaoh Brown's role. Jonnu is going to get more so. He was going to get more so replaced by Nick Westbrook-Akine, Malik Washington, and then now also Darren Waller. But yeah, it seems like just Frank Smith definitely wanted to get his guy. Yeah, and Darren Waller is also like a rapper now. Why not trade for Luke Musgrave from the Packers or trade for Darnell Washington? Well, I'm guessing the Steelers didn't want to give up Darnell Washington, and then Luke Musgrave's just not good, and also he can't. Luke Musgrave is like just a genuine like there's not many players at tight end that are worse fits for this offense than Luke Musgrave, because he can't block and he has no yak ability. He's like Mike Gesicki. So I've heard bad things about Luke Musgrave from the other side of things, from like a. But yeah, that's pretty funny. Chig from the Titans would also have been a potential Jonnu replacement if you were trying to replace like Jonnu. I was kind of hoping for Michael Mayer. Yeah, Michael Mayer would have been cool, but apparently the Raiders weren't interested in trading him away. The thing is, if he doesn't want to block, we know this is so NFL teams know this makes us one-dimensional and predictable. Yeah, but there was the same thing with Jonnu. They didn't ask Jonnu to block. Jonnu couldn't block. Jonnu also didn't really want to block. It wasn't like he was going out there and giving crazy effort. So the Jonnu move being out there also made us one-dimensional. I'm guessing Darren Waller is going to be even more specialized than Jonnu. Like, Jonnu had a specialized role. I'm guessing Darren Waller is going to be even more specialized. He's getting paid less. It's more of an incentives-based role. So we'll see how it plays out. Hey, I appreciate that, Finspin. Dolphins are going to get 2 corners out of free agency. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think they need to add 2. I don't know. I just don't love the free agent options. Kyle Pitts would have been a Jonnu replacement. Well, apparently the Falcons were asking for the day 2 pick, and I personally think Kyle Pitts would have been one of the worst fits for Miami in terms of tight ends. Because I also don't see him much of a Jonnu replacement, because I still Jonnu, like the Kyle Pitts and Darren Waller is kind of in that similar vein, but I just thought Kyle Pitts was like a horrible fit. And like if they're asking for a day 2 pick, no thank you. Yeah. This is like the one move where they kind of went against like their getting younger mentality, but it is a 1-year deal. Like I do not imagine this being more than a 1-year thing anyways, him coming out of retirement. I'm just like, I'm seeing his music video on Twitter. Yeah, and is it Kyle Pitts? And Kyle Pitts has a, what's it called? Yeah, I mean, basically it's a conditional 6 for a 7th round pick. It's really not much that they traded him for, and I don't think he's getting paid much. And the only way he'll get like money is if he performs, which if he performs, then it's worth it. Yeah. I'm seeing like Louis Riddick's take saying like the very definition of uncertainty. I agree. I think the Dolphins are one of the most unpredictable teams going into this season. Like, I think the outcomes for this team, it's one of like the widest ranges of outcomes that I think, I think other teams are pretty easy to predict sort of where they're going to end up. Yeah. 1 year up to 5, Cody. So it's going to be, I saw it was incentive. So I think the up to 5 depends on like how he performs. I'm imagining the base is going to be lower than that. And I feel like in the past, when, obviously Waller was more so in his prime and he was getting traded around, I feel like the Dolphins were always kind of in that conversation. Dolphins skill group, kind of funny now, though. Darren Waller being on, it just was so unexpected. I was literally about to talk about like 10 different tight ends on stream today about being like options and guys that I liked, some I didn't like. Darren Waller was not even a guy I was thinking about. He had breakout year with John Embry, I think. It was with Frank Smith, Cody, who's our offensive coordinator. So yeah, that's how he kind of, I guess his rap career didn't move out. Was he the one dating, was it Kelsey Plum, the WNBA player? Was that him? Hey, just don't use Waller to block. I mean, we're not expecting him to block. They didn't ask Johnny to block either. Waller is pretty much just going to be a big slot receiver in this offense. Exactly what Johnny was, but they aren't exact one-to-ones. Like, Johnny was more of a yak threat, while I think Waller can be more of a downfield, maybe, make some tough contested catches because he's a bit of a bigger body. Waller was a receiver in college, actually. I believe out of Georgia Tech. I remember watching him coming out. And then he converted to tight end, I think initially with the Ravens, and then had his breakout with the Raiders. But yeah, I'm going to definitely check out his film. And because when he was playing, even before he retired, like his final year, he was still like putting up some okay numbers. So, I mean, if he can get at least back to that, it's not a horrible deal for what he's getting paid. Let me actually just look up the stat sheet here. Let's see. Yeah, because even his final season was 2023 with the Giants, who were horrible offensively. He still had 52 catches for 552 yards. Like, that's not horrible, especially for that being your like final year before retiring, and your quarterback being like Daniel Jones and backups and stuff. But he is coming off retirement, so we'll see how much game shape he can get into. We're obviously speculating a lot there. And then what was it before 2023? Yeah, so even 2022, he had a down year, and he was. When was his last like big year? Pretty solid year, 2021, and then I think 2020 was when he was going crazy, right? Yeah, 2020 he had 107 catches for 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. But it's just gonna be like a small, specific role used in the red zone, underneath in obvious passing situations. But yeah, that's pretty funny. I was also going to talk today I was planning to talk about like what Minkah and how it sort of changes the dynamic of the secondary when I was going to stream later. Man. Isn't Waller washed and became a rapper? Well, yeah, I mean, he might be washed coming off the retirement. I wouldn't have said he was like full on washed when he was still playing. He's obviously not the player he used to be. That he's 32 years old. You're definitely not going to get anything close to like his high end production. But for what you're paying him and what you traded for him, I wouldn't be surprised if they get like that value out of him, but I wouldn't expect anything more than that. What did they give up? So it was a conditional 2026 6th round pick, and they got back a 2027 7th round pick. So they basically swapped a 6th and a 7th, and the 6th that they gave up is conditional. I'd wonder what that means. Maybe it could just turn into a 7th if maybe Waller playtime stuff. We don't know. We haven't seen all of that stuff. Do we still have enough money to sign corners? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Dolphins cap situation is fine if they wanted to sign corners. Like, because I don't know if they will. I still don't think it's necessary. I still think signing depth offensive lineman is more important than corner. Because I think if your O-line gets injured, I think that's what ruins the season rather than adding like one veteran corner. I don't think the veteran corner saves your DB group. I think your defense wins up front no matter what, regardless of who your secondary is. I think having depth on the O-line is what could potentially save your season. Let's see what Over the Cap has us at. Over the cap house is about 14 million. Let's see what Spot Track has the Dolphins at, but I don't know if it's fully updated yet. Even with like the Minkah stuff. It doesn't say. Yeah. I mean, they have enough if they really wanted to sign someone. Yeah, Douglas concerns me because out of all the free agent corners that are a possibility, Rasul Douglas is the one that I could see being like a Jordan Poyer type fall off. He is a zone only corner, really. More excited about Rucci than Waller. I don't even think Rucci makes the team. Waller would get at least 800 yards in the Dolphins game. I mean, I don't think he's going to get enough targets to get 800. I think they're going to be trying to push the ball downfield more to their receivers, and they have a lot of other options, but yeah, to be fair, he had 500 yards with pretty bad Giants quarterbacks in his final year. Like, honestly, it was more than I was expecting. Tanner Connor did. Yeah, I mean this is not good for Tanner Connor or Jalen Conyers. Gerald Everett. It's a no thanks on Gerald Everett because I've actually been around people who've been around Gerald Everett, and he is like a known for being a very toxic presence, and he's also very inconsistent too. So it's a no for me. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely another if, but like for what you did it for, it's really just a low risk move. Like if it doesn't work out, it's not like you lose a ton for it. It's not like a move I'm super excited about, but it's one that I could see being, relatively surprising. I'm going to watch the film and see like how well he really was playing in 2023. If the 2023 film is like, because the stats aren't that bad. If the film kind of, backs it up, he was even playing better than the stats because of QB play. And, then I'll be like, okay, maybe there's something a little bit there. I think he can definitely find a footing in that Jonnu type role. But as I'm saying, the offense is going to click through the running game and being able to actually push the ball down the field to your receivers. Waller is going to be more of a complementary piece. And hopefully, red zone stuff. Yeah, I think Nick Westbrook-Akine is going to be more of a bigger part of the offense than what Waller brings. Same with like Malik Washington. I'll be honest though, I did see it and it did make me laugh. It was just so unexpected, like move. Like I just started cracking up. So funny. Now I gotta. I never thought I would be watching Darren Waller film like ever again. Let's see. Anything new getting popped up about this? I don't think so. Wow, that's funny. I mean, hey, good for the Giants, though. They thought they would never get anything from Darren Waller again, and they got, I guess, a slightly better pick, upgraded from 7th to 6th, a year ahead. You think he's starting? I mean, he'll be your starting F tight end. He won't be your starting Y tight end. Like, either way, like, this changes nothing with Julian Hill and Pharaoh Brown. Like, this move, Julian Hill and Pharaoh Brown will still play the same amount of snaps, whether Darren Waller was here, whether Jonnu Smith was here. It changes nothing for them. Like, they don't play really the same position. So, like, Darren Waller will be your starting F. Like, he'll be the first F tight end out there, the one that plays in the slot, plays like a little bit of move tight end. Like, he's not a... This is a Claypool level deal for me. It definitely could be, but also I think Claypool was always a really bad NFL player, so I'll give Waller a heads up over Claypool because Waller was at least good at one point in his career. Chase Claypool is never good. Say what you want. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a Frank Smith move. This only affects Tanner Connor. Yeah, Connor, Jalen Conyers as well, potentially. Julius Thomas. It could be like that, but I think Julius Thomas is a little more slow. Like he was at least slowing down more when it was at the end of his career. A backup fullback. That's why Waller retired. Waller was doing fullback type plays, and he was like, "What am I doing with my life?" Bro was playing receiver in college. Wow. It is a very Dolphins type move. Very unexpected. But yeah, any more questions on Darren Waller or anything to talk about? Because I guess I want to talk a little bit about the Minkah stuff yesterday. Because I don't know if you guys saw the Minkah film breakdown. Minkah is still quite good. He's not all pro level anymore. At least in the past 2 seasons, I don't think he's played like all pro level after watching his film. But he's still quite good. I think he's a really good scheme fit. Like I think there's a lot of ways to use him. And if you look at like the numbers last year for the Steelers, after like week 9 or 10, I believe, he played way more like all around the field. Like they asked him to do a lot more. And you could see like just how effective he can be in multiple different roles. Because before that, they just like were strictly playing him single high. And when you just strictly play a safety single high, it's pretty easy to avoid those types of players and, you know, not always be involved in every single play. But moving around, you got to be involved a lot more. I think 3 safety sets is going to become kind of not the norm for Miami, but it's going to become more common, especially with this group. And you compare it to the corner group, I think the Dolphins are going to try to get to that, especially with Melifonwu and Minkah Fitzpatrick's skill set, being able to play like down in the slot and stuff. So I think that's something you could see more of for Miami this season. But yeah, I think he just kind of changes the dynamic of your secondary with his usage. And how you're going to move people around and all the different sets. Sorry, I missed the news. What happened? We traded for Darren Waller Elwood. He's coming out of retirement to come play for Miami. I mean, we gave up pretty much nothing for him. We gave up a conditional 6th round pick and then got back a 7th. But yeah. Yeah. There's some fun Minkah. Actually, there were some good Minkah clips that I didn't even post in my film breakdown that I wanted to pull up. This was from the Bills playoff game that I wanted to find. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. Oh yeah, this was the play. Shout out Finn Central. Watch Minkah right here. Circled. Just look at the closing speed, man, on Minkah. Down in the flat, throwing the swing to James Cook. Like, that's such an insane play, safety play. I just love his downhill. Very good play speed. Play speed combination of, like, the mental side of the game and your athleticism. And he just does a really good job with his recognition skills in those areas. I was even seeing clips of Minkah from, like, his rookie year, man. Just brings back memories. Yeah, Weaver will play. Hopefully, Minkah's willing to do that because I do think that's Minkah's, most like attractive trait as a player is his ability to do multiple different things. And I hope we get to see that. And I think that's something the Dolphins kind of missed at safety last year because Holland had some versatility, but it was just a down year for Holland. And I don't think he got to take full advantage. And I think Minkah's just an overall, like, just a better version of Holland type of player. Yeah. Dude, it just was shocking. But yeah, it was, yeah, so Frank Smith. This is clearly a Frank Smith trade because he had Darren Waller playing at that super high level. And hopefully, I think, since Darren Waller wanted to retire, didn't really want to play anymore, I think him wanting to come back and play for a dynamic offense, and then go back to the guy that kind of had him in his breakout years with Arthur Smith, I at least think is a positive sign in terms of like motivation for him. He should at least be motivated. It's a 1 year rental, pretty much. Darren Waller has a drop problem. I mean, hey, a lot of receivers have a Dolphin. Hate Dolphins. That's crazy. What do the Dolphins do to get to deserve hate? We're suffering over here. More than any fan base. We haven't won a playoff game in 25 years. Fitzpatrick is a top 5 safety. Is Ramsey a top 5 corner? I mean, I wouldn't say Ramsey's not top 5 anymore. I don't even know if Fitzpatrick's top 5 anymore. I would probably say top 10 is being generous, is probably more accurate. And then Ramsey, I don't even think Ramsey's top 10 anymore. They're still both good players. And they both can get to like top 10, top 5 level if they have a good season, used correctly. But I don't think they played like a last year, like top 5, no. Wasn't Waller dealing with injury issues before retirement? He's had injury issues like over his career. I think there was, someone said something about a viral thing. I don't know. I'd have to look into all of that. I remember he had like some injuries. Wow. This one's even more surprising than the Minkah one, because at least the Minkah one, I had seen someone speculate about it, and I thought about it. But the Waller one was not expecting that at all. But at least it's, for something cheap trade, cheap contract, just a low risk, potential high reward. I mean, I'm not a super high reward, but higher reward than what you risked for him, at least I think is possible. For freed up funds per spot track, we went from 14 million cap to about 5 million available cap after the trade. Are you sure about that? I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing different from different sites. I don't know if everything's completely updated from them. But the Dolphins have reportedly they definitely saved cash. Because I'm seeing a bunch of different sites have us at about 14 million. Over the cap. What did we give up for Waller? We gave up a conditional 6th round pick, but we got back a 7th round pick. So, not much. And they signed him to a 1 year up to $5 million contract, which means it's more of a incentive-based contract. So we don't know what his base is. I'm imagining it's not going to be much, and then he can make up to 5 mil based on, maybe playing time or yardage, touchdowns type things. Yeah, over the cap has us at, I think, 13.7, Michael. I don't think 5 is correct. At least from what I've seen from other people who I talked about it. It wouldn't make sense either. Maybe they just haven't updated like what you would gain back from losing Ramsey, but who knows? I don't think they, because I'm pretty sure based on because they paid an extra 3 mil from Ramsey and they're gaining stuff from Minkah coming here. I think it's going to be more in that 13, 14 mil range. But who knows? I mean, we'll wait to see. I think we haven't gotten all the details yet. But I guess I'm watching Darren Waller film. Did not expect that. Maybe I'll have a Darren Waller film breakdown either out later today or tomorrow. Who knows? I'll have to go watch it after this. He's a Pro Bowl tight end. I mean, he's a former Pro Bowl tight end. He's not that level anymore. Yeah. These moves, I would say affect the players on the Dolphins roster. Like the Minkah trade affects the Dolphins. Like the young Dolphin safeties have to prove stuff because like they're not guaranteed a roster spot. You know, being later round picks and stuff. So I think they really got to be able to fight because now you got 6 safeties that you want to make the roster. Most teams only keep 4. I think the Dolphins will keep 5 this year. So that will be an interesting battle at the end of it. And then for this move, this affects like Tanner Connor, Jalen Conyers fighting for a spot, being more of those F tight ends. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to look. Yeah. Any final questions? I'm gonna probably go watch some Darren Waller film here pretty quickly. See how he looked in that final season, 2023. The biggest question mark is just, you know, him being in football shape. I don't know. We have no idea. Enjoy. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go check out that Darren Waller film. I guess, you know, leave a like on the stream and all that good stuff. Wait out for the film breakdown either later today, tomorrow. Who knows? We'll see. But thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.